Let's give a little bit of an update. Now switching over to mostly NFL. Really, the rest of the show is going to be NFL. I want to give you an update on the New Orleans Saints head coaching search. We're having some second interviews with Anthony Weaver, who is the defensive coordinator of the Dolphins. Couldn't be more disinterested. And weirdly the hell enough, we pay for a flight for Mike Kafka to come over to New Orleans to interview second time, also like Anthony Weaver, for our head coaching position. I couldn't be even more disinterested in Mike Kafka because he's coming from New York. I guess if I had to pick one of the two, pick your poison, which evil would you prefer? I would take Anthony Weaver because he has much better resume from a much more stable franchise. I don't think anybody would want to touch anything coming out of the New York Giants franchise. But with Anthony Weaver in his only season with Miami, he was 10th in points, 4th in yards, 9th in pass and rush defensive yards as well. They weren't great in turnovers. They were -5 in the turnover margin, which is 21st in the NFL. They were 6th worst in the league with total turnovers at only 16. And again, being -5 in the turnover margin, that means you turn the ball over offensively 21 times, but your defense only came away with 16 of them. That's not the worst thing in the world. You do want to have a good defense be able to force turnovers like you see with the Eagles, like you see with the Chiefs, like you see with the Bills. And again, in his only season, he gave you a top 10 team in points, yards, and passing yards allowed by the defense and rushing yards allowed by the defense. So he had a good tenure. But then when you look at Mike Kafka, who since 2022, he's been the offensive coordinator for the Giants. He's went 1-1 in the playoffs with them. He's been 15th, 30th, and 31st in points. Now, I understand he's been working with a Daniel Jones, working with a Tommy DeVito, working with a Drew Lock. I don't care, because his resume is what it is. And if you think for some weird freaking reason you're going to get more out of Spencer Rattler or maybe Jake Haener or, God forbid, Derek Carr's QB1 next year, which he probably is, check the tape, Derek. I'm not interested in that. I don't believe in that at all. And then you look, he was 18th, 29th, and 30th in yards. So on average, he gave you the 25th best offense, 7th worst in the NFL in points and yards on average in those three seasons that he was there. So I couldn't be more disinterested in either of these guys. Again, if I had to pick my poison, I would take Anthony Weaver. We're still crossing our fingers for Joe Brady over here in New Orleans. For the love of God, please just give us somebody offensive. Just give us an offensive coach. I mean, yeah, I would still welcome Aaron Glenn because he ironically left the building today of the Jets with no deal. And now he'll apparently visit the Saints. But with him just giving up 45 points at home to the Commanders, which I'm not sliding Washington, it changes your perspective on his resume a little bit. So again, take me back to the offensive guy. Take me back to the guy who has done great with Josh Allen since taking over for Ken Dorsey. Joe Brady is phenomenal. And you even see Josh Allen defending him. Joe Brady's not doing anything well here. Teams need to stay away from him. He's obviously being very coy about the subject. But Joe Brady is a great candidate because we know what he's able to do offensively. But is he in it for the hardest coaching job in the NFL? Because you have 5 players over the age of 32 accumulating for over $100 million, over $110 million next year in cap hits. Derek Carr, Tyrann Mathieu, Demario Davis, Cameron Jordan. It's tough. It's very, very tough. Is Joe Brady the guy to weather that rebuild? And then we have rumors about Mike McCarthy heating up, which I was shitting on it first. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. I could want anything besides Mike McCarthy, right? But let's keep it logical here for a second. Mike McCarthy is not a bad coach. And I actually want to be able to pull up, I just had it right here. Here we go. Mike McCarthy is not a horrible coach. Yes, you might feel indifferent about what he did towards the end of his tenure in Green Bay. Let's not forget that Aaron Rodgers is difficult to put up with. Let's not forget that Aaron Rodgers did have a shoulder injury. And it kind of felt like he was wrongfully fired in the middle of a 4-7 season after leading them to a Super Bowl in 2010. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 seasons with the Green Bay Packers. He gave them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 double-digit win seasons. And he only had 1, 2, 3 losing seasons out of over a decade. Again, 13 years with the Cowboys. Or not the Cowboys, the Packers. So, you can say what you want about him, but he's a mature coach. He's 61, going to be turning 62. So he's seen plenty of what this league has to offer. Coached in well over 200, coming up on 300 NFL games. In his 18 years as a coach, he's coached 288 games. He's won 174, lost 112, 2 ties. So a 60.8 rounded up to 61% winning percentage. He's been to the playoffs quite a few times. 22 playoff games. Matter of fact, out of the 18 years that he's been a coach, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times has he missed the playoffs with his teams. 2006, the first year with Green Bay, he goes 8-8. The third year with Green Bay, when he goes 6-10, he missed it for 2 straight years with Green Bay. I'm pretty sure those were the years that Aaron Rodgers wasn't looking too good. 7-9, 4-7. The first year with Dallas, he goes 6-10 because they finally get Jason Garrett the hell out of there. And then 3 straight 12-win seasons. He's 11-11 in the playoffs. Again, 22 games coached, a 500 winning percentage. Now, I'm not saying he's the end-all, be-all, but I feel like if the Saints are just looking for stability and competency, Mike McCarthy is not a bad option. And I firmly believe the coach that comes in this year, he's probably going to be a 1-year, 2-year scapegoat. This is a 2-year rebuild, like at quickest. I don't think we're going to get lucky like the Bengals or the Commanders or be as hot as the Lions were over these last couple of seasons with Dan Quinn just absolutely commandeering them. But Mike McCarthy might be the most qualified, experienced, well-rounded NFL coach that could be interested in coming to coach for us. Because again, just does Joe Brady, can he weather the storm? Because this is like Winter Storm Enzo that we're experiencing right now, but times 10 with New Orleans. Worst cap situation in the league, most passive owner out there, dumbest GM in the league, who is so oblivious and in over his skis, just doesn't know football. His 45-minute press conference was grueling to listen to as a diehard fan. And you don't know what the quarterback situation is. You don't have trenches. Your roster is old. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Matt Moscona on After Further Review, Saints podcast, radio show, #1 radio talk show in New Orleans about the Saints. Love you, Scone. You do great work. He broke it down very well. It's not an attractive job. This is a 2, probably 3-year rebuild. And as long as Mickey Dumbass Loomis is in the building, it could be a 5+ year rebuild. We should have started rebuilding as soon as Breeze retired. Now, yes, you can argue Breeze should have went after 18, 19, 2017, whatever. He didn't until he went. And we could have been rebuilt. We could be back in contention. We could have a quarterback of the future. But Mickey loves to kick the can down the road. And that's why I can't have him anywhere near this rebuild. I'm not going to continue to go over Mickey Loomis because y'all know very well how I feel about him. And we know how the rest of the league feels about him as well. But Mike McCarthy could be a very decent hire. I'm not saying he's going to take us to the promised land. I'm not saying he's going to take us to the playoffs. I'm not saying we're going to go to the NFC Championship game. I'm not saying we're going to be one play away from possibly going because we're in the divisional. No. I just want stability and experience. And Mike McCarthy brings both of those to the table. Saints fans, I generally want to hear what you think down in the comments. Darby, I see you here. I'll definitely respond to that comment. They got it right. Don't know what you're referring to there, Brian, on they got it right. But either way, we'll see. You're probably talking about the you guys are talking about the college football playoffs. Yeah, they did get it right for the most part, for sure. I want them to change up a little bit of the, incentivization of the conference championship games. Much better than the 4 teams, for sure. Awesome. Supposedly, Kafka was going to be Bieniemy's replacement in Kansas City, but that didn't work out, so then he went to the Giants. Okay. I don't even know what to say to that. I'm just going to sip my liquid death and act like we're not going to hire Mike Kafka. By the way, Liquid Death, pretty good. I thought it was an energy drink / alcohol for the longest time. Apparently, it used to be an energy drink. This is the severed lime flavor. I do not have a sponsorship with these folks. Liquid Death, bring the check. I'd love to help out. Only thing is, it does have sugar in it. It has sugar in sparkling water, so I don't know how I feel about that. But get you a Tall Boy sparkling water, Liquid Death, and no code AJL at checkout. Again, we don't have the sponsorship yet. But hey, DM Liquid Death on social media. Get at them. Let them know that I'll be a great sponsor for them. So, yes, that's kind of the update on the New Orleans Saints head coaching search. I want to hear y'all get down in the comments, get in the chat about it. Who do you want, Saints fans? Do you want Joe Brady? Are you okay with Mike McCarthy? Because I'm not. I would argue Mike McCarthy is the strongest candidate right now. We didn't get Ben Johnson, who we're talking about next. Mike Vrabel is with the Patriots. I don't want Nagy. Cliff's not leaving because of what Commanders just did. Obviously, they have a second interview with Anthony Weaver. Aaron Glenn. His defense just gave up 45 points. So, yeah, I will say that right now, my top 2 picks are Mike McCarthy first and then Joe Brady. I'm not happy about it. Don't get me wrong. I do not think that Mike McCarthy's the solution, but you're getting a well-tenured head coach. The only down years he had in Dallas was when his quarterback was hurt. Now, are the playoffs a different story? Yes. I'm not thinking playoffs right now. I'm thinking, get me the fuck out of this cap situation, help me build the trenches, help me draft, and help me look at my quarterback of the future. And I believe Mike McCarthy can possibly do that for us. Ben Johnson has officially been hired by the Chicago Bears as their next head coach. I want to say he's the 20th head coach in a little over 100 years of the existence, which is crazy. They have a new head coach every 5 years. If Joe Brady goes somewhere else, I really don't care because they're a 1 to 2 year scapegoat. Yeah, precisely. And I think if Mike McCarthy possibly proves himself, maybe gets us to the point of into the playoffs, but maybe he's the continuous one and done like he's been, because I think the Super Bowl days are past him. He's still solid, you know? And I do believe that we could maybe pivot from Mike to someone even stronger to really take us back to contention. And, like we were when it was the Breeze and the Peyton era.
Hey, it's AJL here. Appreciate you sticking to the end of the video here on YouTube. You could have chose any other show, but you chose my video, and for that, I'm very grateful. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media. Hit the bell on the channel so you never miss a post. Check me out on all social media platforms. Right here, you'll find a chance to subscribe to the show, a related video, and a playlist. See you guys in the next one.